the new Parkway Theater, where good food, diverse entertainment, and community create a place for everyone. For showtimes and special events, check out www.thenewparkway.com. You are listening to High Score 510, where real talk is our vernacular.
I thought he was going to tell him, don't push me, because I'm close to the edge.
And then here's the thing. If you in boxing and your name's Sugar and you ain't a boxer, man, give up that nickname, dog. You a cornerman. You know, I got another corner shout out to Sugar, whatever his fucking name is. You can't have a nickname as a cornerman in boxing. Emmanuel Stewart didn't have a corner. Boudini Brown, maybe Boudini wasn't his first name. Cuss D'Amato, he was Cuss. You can't have a nickname Sugar when there's too many boxers named Sugar. We had Sugar Ray Robinson.
Maybe
Leonard,
he was a
Sugar
boxer
Shane,
from Sugar Hill.
Sugar Shane Mosley. If you didn't cut as a boxer, take Sugar out your nickname, right? Let's think about the Sugars that was in movies. Wasn't there a Sugar?
Well, there was a Sugarfoot. There was a Sugarfoot, the singer.
And don't forget, there was Sugar in Harlem Nights. Wasn't that Richard Pryor name?
Sugar Ray's.
He was Sugar Ray.
Club Sugar Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about Suge in The Color Purple?
Suge. Those are good nicknames. And none of them were cornermen.
Oh, Captain P Funk, what's up?
All right, I was trying to turn down the nigga shit in the background. It's literally just told her, and he'll come back here and scream.
Pedro's always got something going on in the household, so every once in a while you might see him get up from his church pew and walk away, but don't mind that. He'll be back. All right, well, why don't we go ahead and start the show? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the High Score 510 podcast. You can catch us at High Score 510 on the Instagram, the YouTube, and the .com. Fuck Twitter. We got banned, but whatever. It's all good.
How did you get banned from Twitter?
We've been banned. I couldn't help it. I had to say a joke, and I called Shaq a Negro. It's not fair. It is what it is. I don't know. What's real? Do you think that me making a joke, saying this Negro, and then making a joke about what he looks like, not saying anything like what John Gruden said about DeMaurice Smith, just saying this Negro got a crazy hairline. Is that something to get banned for?
Apparently. Apparently it is.
Okay, apparently it is. I've learned.
I've been looked down on the Twitter database and looked down on agreements of what you're supposed to be doing there. I'm sure there's been worse things that have been said on Twitter that have not gotten people banned. I'm pretty sure of that.
I also made fun of Drake, because
that would have won you an award in my house.
An award?
To make it not the first thing, not the Shaq making fun of the Drake.
Drake, yeah, getting on Drake, because Drake is the greatest ever right now. Apparently, Aaron, one day maybe you can meet Drake and we can have a sit down. Aaron is triggered by Drake, by the way, just to let you know.
I'd rather meet Hitler. I feel like we'll have a lot more to talk about than me and Drake. We have a lot more in common. I have more in common with Stalin than I will with Drake.
Hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it one day, Aaron. We'll get to the bottom of it one day. You can also catch us.
If I had a time machine, I would go back in time and pull. Remember, wasn't that Brandon Lee that accidentally got shot by? It was supposed to be a blank and it was a real bullet. Yeah. I would pull that on Drake and Degrassi. He would really be in a wheelchair. He can still have a rap career. He just can't do some stupid ass dancing during the beginning of the pandemic. That man need more attention than a Kardashian. He might be a Kardashian. He might be a secret Kardashian.
You never know. He do look kind of like Rob Kardashian, a little darker, slightly more complexion to him. What's real? You going on tour with Drake anytime soon?
If you see me on this podcast, probably not.
Don't worry.
I must have a disclaimer for this podcast. We might ruin careers. So
Drake can't take you. He wouldn't take you because you too real for him. Yeah. You too real. Drake need a bunch of fake people around.
Disclaimer: all views and opinions expressed on this show, not voiced by WatzReal, are not his own. Okay, so
Drake, you are too real for Drake. Only way Drake could take me and you on a tour is I gotta go out and get a Brazilian butt lift.
You can also catch us at patreon.com/highscore510 and catch all our content that is too hot for the proper show and some of our feature conversations. Aside from that, we are here with.
This is AG3 coming at you straight live out of Oakland. Faster than the cop car was just driving by a second ago.
If you black of skin and full of sin, come forward.
All right. And we are here with.
Hello, everyone. It's everybody's friendly truck driver, Captain P Funk, coming at you faster than BNSF Railway doing their work.
If Uncle Jimmy tell you a duck and pull a truck, you better hook him up.
And we are here with our special guest of the day, our featured guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
What's up, everybody? I'm WatzReal, straight out of San Francisco, Bay Area, California.
He a man.
He is a man. WatzReal is a man. Not from South Central. From SF. And my name is Jarrett, aka DJartt, with 2 T's for a double O, so that tink tink, the D is silent, so it's just Jartt.
I'd take him home, but I have a dog.
All righty. Well, how's everybody doing today?
I'm tired. I don't know about everybody else. I'm wore out.
Pedro is our resident truck driver, so sometimes he pulls some loads at early hours of the morning and whatnot. But Pedro, man, you look rejuvenated. I got to give you that. You were at a wedding in Sedona last weekend. You was playing spades, getting turned. You know what I'm saying? How'd that go, man? You've been off the last couple of weeks, but we just want to check back in with you. How you been?
Oh, it's been good. Last week was a real good weekend. Got to spend it with some quality people. It's always good to be around people that's level-headed. Got away for a little bit. As much as I rant about marriages on this podcast, went to a wedding, and it was a nice little wedding. Good friend of the neighborhood and people I know. He got married and asked me to be part of his wedding, so we did that. Watch a family begin. So it was all good. We had a good weekend last weekend.
And then you got back to the grind.
Right back to the grind. I didn't recover until Wednesday. I had so many ribs. I had the itis for 3 or 4 days.
That's some good ass ribs. That's one rib. We're here with our special guest today. WatzReal. We want to learn more about who you are and what you do and how did you come to be where you are in this moment in time. So, tell us a little bit about, your hip hop career and what was one of the, culminating moments that, made you realize you wanted to pursue this professionally?
Yeah. So I was kind of like raised in nonprofits to some extent. I went into a nonprofit I now work for, Beats Rhymes of Life, which uses hip hop as therapy. When I was 17, I've been like rapping a few years before that. But that's kind of what made me feel more connected and want to take it to more of like a passion to something I was a little bit more serious about. So from there and being in Youth Movement Records and being mentored by people like Ryan Nicole, KV, Dose One, that kind of like instilled a lot more sense of community. And I was still kind of going back and forth on it for a while, whether or not I want to take it seriously. And it was actually like to a point of like Great Depression. But what actually really clicked for me and like really made me want to take it more seriously and be more active. I was listening to G-Eazy on the radio. And it was like when his first singles that came out, was when he was like first like blowing up. And I actually went to high school with G-Eazy. And I only say that to say like, I remember like him in high school. I remember how long it took for him to get to where he is, to where it took for him to get to that moment. I remember how hard he worked. I remember the dedication. And I was like, if I'm going to like even consider taking this seriously, I have to just like, stop messing around and really just chase after this. Cause I always remember what if I don't.
So you went to Berkeley High also?
Yeah, I went to Berkeley High.
Jared went there too.
Way in Berkeley.
Jared went there too.
I
Allegedly.
I was an ambassador. I was like a Berkeley High, a Berkeley High alum emeritus. I was given the status of Berkeley
He tell
High.
people he go to Berkeley High. He tell people he went to Berkeley High.
If Berkeley High was Wu-Tang, you were a red man.
Yeah, maybe. So like that.
It might be worse than that. It's worse than that. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You hit it right on the head.
Jason, like, you didn't really go to Berkeley High, but it's like you were close enough to going to Berkeley High all the time. And being around Berkeley High, it's like, well, you kind of went to Berkeley High.
That's exactly how it is. It just set in, Obi, what you said. Yes, that's exactly how it is.
Majority of my college friends went to Berkeley High.
Everyone thinks he went to Berkeley High because of who he hang around.
Where'd you actually go?
The Athenian School. Shout out sponsorship.
That sounds like Kate Hudson's leg wear, Jared. much less a high school.
It's what's her name? Who's it? Gwyneth Paltrow's new new brand of
that's what
brand of lupus. I grew up around. I was around downtown Berkeley all the time. Also, my parents worked in and around downtown Berkeley, so every summer I was down there at the downtown Berkeley Y, with Delroy Lindo, hanging out, and then kicking it in that little park where it seems like anything you want to do illegal, you can do there, even though the police right across the street.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was like kids cutting class, smoking blunts. I'm like, they in the park, police. Please just drive by, like, ain't no big deal. They wearing a SpongeBob backpack. They ain't adults. So G-Eazy was somebody who you drew some inspiration from, as seeing him in his career arc. You've stated that mental health is something it's big, and you rap about it in some of your pieces. It's at the forefront of what your your art is touching on. What is it within like the mental health scope that really like inspires your work, or in which ways has that truly influenced your work?
I think mental health in music is like helped me understand my life better. So it's just like wanting to like return the favor. Like I remember like the first mental health focused like hip hop album I remember, and I honestly think he's probably one of the most responsible for this trend in mainstream hip hop. It's definitely like a growing trend. I wouldn't even call it like a main trend, but a growing trend is Kid Cuddy's like Man on the Moon, and like hearing his like that album helped me feel like it helped me understand my life. So it's like I wanted to slowly incorporate that into my music so that hopefully I could offer that experience to someone else. Also just something I'm knowledgeable about. I've been in now worked 4 Beats Farms of Life using hip hop as therapy, and in the therapeutic framework, and learning clinical skills and clinical knowledge for close to 10 years now. So it's also something I feel like I have a lot more expertise and just knowledge around versus like average rappers. So it's easier for me to draw from it just from.
So you've worked in the mental health field too, then?
Yeah. BRL, Beats Farms of Life. We have it's the nonprofit that I work for. It's based in Oakland. It's the one that I was a part of when I was a youth that, got me more serious. Jeezy was part of it briefly. But yeah, working there, I mean, they give us clinical skills. It's not just like, hey, like we're going to have you guys rap and that's going to be therapeutic. There is that element, but it's also like much more intentional about like using therapeutic curriculum, meeting with counselors, understanding like treatment plans, understanding like different diagnoses, and just genuinely just through, working with youth and, kind of self-reflecting with my supervisors that have a psychological background, you just kind of in depth start to gain that intuition and skills to be able to be more like emotionally intelligent and reflective on like, how people are presenting and what's going on with the psyche.
Yes, first of all, shout out Kid Cuddy from Cleveland, Ohio, ain't he?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah. When it comes to the music today, how it seems like we sell, I guess, the mumble rappers, or what's your opinion on mumble rappers today? First, I got to follow up.
I feel like with any type of music, you got to know what your intent is. If your intent is like for people to have fun and like, just make party music, make the best party music you can. And if you got to mumble on it, it's probably not going to make a big difference for the people that enjoy it. If people enjoy it, if your intent is to enjoy it, if their intent is to enjoy it, then I feel like mumble rap, as long as this, for that enjoyment, that's fine. It's not something that I'm going to like personally listen to. I don't personally like a lot of mumble rap. It's like, it's not something that resonates with me.
Okay, so what do you think about the guys, this new style? It seems like they're just rapping to generic Casio beats, and they kind of rap off, like you can hear them, they kind of rap off beat on purpose. I don't know what they call that. It's a name for it. It's basically like they're snapping. It's kind of like they're skipping a beat or rhyming or putting their words over. I guess it overlaps with the rhythm of the beat. And just mostly like they're just talking.
Yeah, like Silk the Shocker?
Kind of like Silk the Shocker.
Blueface?
But Blueface is very personal.
Talking about like conversational raps, I'm all for that. I'm not personally a fan of Blueface.
Okay.
I feel like the trend in hip hop is it's going to be the trend with like a lot of things. For every action is equal and opposite reaction. So for as much like party music and mumble rap and all these things that we have seen in one direction, I feel like we're also seeing people like, J.I.D., Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and people under them, Dreamville. Griselda's been making a big wave.
Okay, I'm not familiar with. I used to dig in crates, so I would follow a lot of underground hip hop. Like we had, who was it, Jay Lately on the show?
Yeah, Jay Lately. Yep.
Shout out Jay Lately.
Shout out Jay Lately sponsorship.
I always bring up the underground, but honestly I haven't been following because it's so hard to follow all these cats, all these new cats, and you try to catch up with everybody, and you kind of get lost on who's who and what crew is what. You only hear about the mainstream guys, like you said, J.I.D., J. Cole. I like the female No Name, and also there's another one. I think her name is Brittany.
No Name's dope. Rhapsody's dope.
Oh, Rhapsody's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
y'all got a lot. Y'all got a lot of catching up to do. Here it comes to Rhapsody.
She ain't a rapper, but Sister's dope. Yeah, it's a lot of local dope female rappers. Ruby Ibarra, Kayla Love.
What do you think about sampling or being creative, making your own music?
I think sampling is okay. I mean, I think the issue is it just runs into certain issues. So like it becomes, so I think you're okay sampling. It's just like, but, so it's okay to sample, but if the record blows up, you might be in, it might be a situation. It's okay to sample, but if you want to license it somewhere, you're probably also going to run into some issues. But if you're just putting out a record, just for it to circulate and, gain some numbers and gain some fans, I feel like most people are doing, then you're probably going to be fine.
Well, I guess talking about sampling, I heard one of your songs, was it Love is Light? You sampled a little Sam Cooke in there.
Oh, yeah.
Right on, see?
I was listening in, and I was like, all of a sudden, I was like, did it change up channels on me? I was like, got a little Sam Cooke on here.
Yeah, it definitely takes it's like a little surprise in there, because the whole album's kind of like, it's got a very somber tone to it. So, but that part definitely, I feel like is changing the sonic trajectory of soundscape for sure. You
have an album that you just dropped. What's the name of the album? The Dark Album.
The Dark Album.
And I guess a question about that album is, so you had the Love is Light song. I like that. I was just to think Hope. Was it Hope? Was another one? Yeah, Hopeful. That one. I like that one. That was cool. In constructing this album from the production side to the lyrics side, are you involved in the producing and making of the beats, or are you working with different producers to then put your lyrics on?
Some of them was just kind of like shopping around. Some of them I had very intent. I work with for the Love is Light, as you mentioned it, RXN, I kind of gave him the concept. I was like, hey, I want this sampled. I want this to be the hook. I want maybe this part for the intro. So it gave some directional feedback or direction for the production for that beat. And it's kind of similar to one other one, Dark Days, featuring Cassie and the homie Defy out in New Mexico. Dope rapper. My homie Tope was had a beat already made and then we already used, but Tope was telling me that hey man, this beat's not it doesn't really fit the vibe of the rest of the album. I was like, all right. So I kind of took that feedback. It's like, hey man, the vibe, I'm trying to go for this, right? For this album you've been engineering. So can you make me a new beat? So we went 1, 2 times and it didn't quite get there. And on the third and final time, I think I was able to kind of give enough direction and we were kind of more on the same page by that point that he kind of understood. And yeah, so I had a bit of a hand in that one, how that one turned out as well.
I always wonder about like the components of building the song out with the artist. Like, you know, I know some people will just go find beats and, you know, purchase them from a producer, or they'll work directly with the producer, I guess. And it sounds like, you know, saying you have a lot of input on, you know, kind of the direction of the sound and even some of the samples they may use. So that's
like, yeah, you know, I definitely do sometimes like, oh yeah, that's the beat I want, or like, oh, I have like a concept in mind that beat works. Or sometimes like I'll just hear a beat and be like, I don't know what concept I have, but that sounds too perfect for what I'm trying to create here, or for this song that I have in mind. So
okay, yeah. All right.
Was there a theme or some kind of inspiration behind this new album, Dark Album?
Yeah, well, Dark Albums is, you know, it's definitely like conceptualized around darkness, around the last few years when I lost my aunt, and that like kind of like really was like a heavy thing for me. Also just my own exploration of my own trials and tribulations and trauma and processing that, and wanting to also be more, you know, I've been vulnerable in records before, but even, you know, challenging myself to be even more vulnerable and challenging myself to focus even more on mental health for this album. Kind of, you know, work through that process.
Okay. Sure. Dope. And you're Hapa, right?
Yep. Part Japanese.
Part Japanese. Okay.
Oh.
There we go. Shout out to the my Hapa Brethren sponsorship. I'm half Chinese, so you know what I'm saying, I'm the resident Hapa on this show.
We talking about, I'm Hapa too. I'm half black, half amazing.
Well, I'm also mixed.
There you go.
I'm mixed. My mom is black and my dad's black as hell.
Question of the day, and it comes from RCO2, and I guess his question was in regards about the new Dave Chappelle, The Closer. In the last article I've sent you, the lady says several times that she doesn't know what's in Chappelle's heart about if he hates trans people. But the through line of every article and headline is that he's saying transphobic things. His turf acknowledgement, probably closest trans thing I've read. To us non-trans people, do these seem to be transphobic statements or jokes? To me, they sound like more like observational annoyances he has had about the community. What do you guys think about the new Dave Chappelle stand-up on Netflix? And for us, with, you know, as I'm assuming WatzReal, you're not trans. None of us on the show are trans. But in your assessment of the special, do you find
I was gonna make a bad joke, and then I decided I didn't want to be canceled.
Are you or any of us famous enough to get canceled?
Pedro already canceled in the bedroom by his wife, so I mean,
been canceled
there. So I mean, you could be canceled and
I'm out here.
Segment.
I'm out here buying it now.
Just because you ain't famous don't mean you can't be canceled. He got canceled in the bedroom. You know, I got canceled. Some people get canceled. They can't go buy the milk they want in the store they want.
All right. Well, yeah, I don't know. Are these jokes and comments in Dave Chappelle's stand-up, in your assessment, you know, are they transphobic, or what did you think in general about the actual stand-up?
Well, did everybody watch it?
I watched it. I watched all of it.
Yeah, everyone here has watched it. Yeah.
And I just think anything Dave Chappelle was going to say about any joke, you know, it's going to be real, but people are not separating entertainment from real life. In the comedy sketch, he was talking about real life. I think a lot of people just took the parts that they wanted to take and wanted to be outraged about it. But if you actually listen to the whole stand-up, he's actually talking about a good friend of his. I'm not going to ruin it because everybody needs to watch it. I don't want to ruin it for anybody on the podcast. You need to watch it and understand it and see the comedic genius he was doing about somebody's real life. Everybody is so, I don't know where the sensitivity came from. But if y'all grew up in the time me and Aaron grew up, and was that sensitive,
then they would have been in trouble. They would have never made it.
Oh my God, you guys would.
They would have never made it.
Hey, for our younger audience, I don't know where this is coming from. But sometimes I get on my son about this, and I'm like,
Yeah, we weren't that.
Yeah,
we couldn't be that sensitive.
You couldn't be.
You wouldn't have made it through middle school, elementary, or high school.
Okay, it's very important. This is what we didn't have, and I know that WatzReal, you work with mental health, so we didn't have a lot of mental health outs. It wasn't like really counseling. Only counseling we got was from one side, one perspective. Bring white Jesus in your life to fill all those spaces that are missing in your life. You just bring Jesus and everything and fix everything.
Praise white Jesus.
That's what we was taught when we was growing up. You would just hope and pray that life didn't basically end your life. we was facing the streets. So now for everybody to be offended, there's even people that's not even in that community talking about, hey, he went too far. And I'm like, boy, did you listen to Eddie Murphy at all? Did you listen to Richard Pryor? Did you listen to any of the guys in the past? This is bringing the white comedians in. Did you listen to Rodney Dangerfield? Any of the safe? George Carlin. I'm talking about the safe comedians like the guys that you see on TV.
Bob Hope.
Bob Hope. Those guys went hard on the gay community.
Oh yeah.
I mean hard. And I'm like, you talking about Chappelle, and he's talking literally talking about his friend and his friend's life and some of the things that had changed his mind. And people just get sensitive about everything. It's clickbait, basically you get to a part or just one section he says and everybody's offended. And that's what I really hate about the internet. I'm this close, just turning the whole shit off, Damn. I'm just this close. If it wasn't for a couple of women, it might give me a chance. It would have been off. We listen to the shorts, we listen to the clips, we listen to the TikToks. We get excited about those shorts. We don't never take the whole thing in. I knew right away when I heard it on the Breakfast Club that when they start saying things, they was offended by things. I was like, wait, there's something fishy here. Something's totally fishy. I watched it myself and I was like, oh my God, this man is talking about somebody's life. And they took one part like he was talking against the whole community.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all got stuff messed up. I'm not even sure if those people that complain they even watched the whole damn thing or even understanding of it.
All right. WatzReal? What about you? What's your take on, I guess, the question or the stand-up as a whole?
I think it's a lot of great, gray areas. And I think Dave Chappelle does like a good job of just like, watching especially with definitely parts like I didn't agree with and things that he said. I was like, oh, like, they were like cringy and parts I didn't like necessarily like, with points of view. So I was like, I don't think that's true. Or, I didn't like connect with. But I think a lot of it is like, I will say his overall points that he was trying to make and the way that he was trying to make them and the way he was making connections, I thought was very brilliant. And I thought, he had a lot of good things to say. And, his comparisons, I think, were accurate in the way that, cancel culture, I don't want to like give away part of the ending, but, cancel culture is important, but, it's got to be weary up to the point that, what does it stand for? And like, whose lives are being affected? The friend of Dave Chappelle was highly affected by standing up for Dave Chappelle to the point that, seems counterintuitive to what, it seemed like the cause was. I thought a lot of his overall points were very valid in the way that he compared, how certain comments, get taken. Wanted to watch it and hope that, open more dialogue and, and just like, different marginalized communities begin pissed against each other, because I feel like that's kind of what's happening. And it feels like, what he's asking for. It's like, we need to come together. Like, I feel like that was one of the closing remarks in the course. Like, if you really pay attention, it's like, we need to have a conversation. We're not on the same page. Like, you think I'm here to attack you. I'm not here to attack you. Like, we need to find a way to be on the same page, because you think I'm punching down and I'm not. Everything's level. Like, I make fun of everyone, everyone. He said, like, at the end, like, I'm going to stop. I'm not talking about this. I'm done. We need to have a mutual understanding until we have, wait till we have a mutual understanding for me to continue. And I think that's important.
I agree with both of you guys said. As far as I do definitely agree with the conversation that needs to happen. And I agree that, you know, it was real genius how he set up all the jokes for like the point he was trying to push through at the end. And, you know, I'm from an older generation like Pedro, where I am a little less sensitive. Like the John Gruden remarks didn't upset me that much. I mean, I was shocked by him, but it didn't upset me. And to me, that's what that was a bigger deal. You know, as far as the Chappelle show, I agree with Pedro as far as like, yeah, it should start a conversation to come together. But it's an art form, right? Just like some people used to get offended by when, you know, the statue of David or someone painting nudity, right? It's art. It's art. I mean, you know, and the great thing about life is we can choose to put ourselves in positions where we could not be offended by things, right? I feel like right now we're in a place where some people go out and it's like, they knew, like, all right, I know he's saying some trans jokes and I know it's going to affect me, but I'm gonna go watch this. It's like, no, back in the day, you knew who to watch. You knew who not to watch, right? I mean, I'd rather it's out in the open. When we start pushing that shit to the dark web and pushing it to the back doors is where we are now. And then you start getting really, really bad and distasteful hate comes out of it, right? Not to say hate's not behind it or whatever's behind it, but when it's on the forefront, it's not as scary as when it's, you know, when all of a sudden it's in the back and then next thing you know, you got militias coming out of Idaho, Montana, things like that when it gets pushed down. When some of the bigots had Don Imus to turn to and listen to, right? Like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to listen to Don Imus and hear him say a little bit of bigotry and, you know, talk about the North Carolina basketball team. The Rutgers women's basketball team. And then being nappy-headed hoes and all that. And if you wanted to be a bigot and enjoy that, you went to it. But now when we start canceling those things, then they go and they find it in darker places. Like even Howard Stern had a network that kind of put the brakes on some of his shit, right? Now you go to these places where the brakes aren't there. The protections aren't there, right? And that's my only problem with cancel culture. It's like, what's the reason behind it, right? Like, and are we using it correctly? Is it being used correctly, right? For me, every time, if you cancel someone for being an asshole, that doesn't help start a conversation behind it, right? That doesn't start getting people to talk. It pushes them back and pushes them into, it's like they're being attacked, right? And these are the polarizing. I think cancel culture pushes us more into the polarizing of the country extremes. That we are. Yes, and we are going there. Right. There was nothing wrong with, look, not everyone's going to have the same opinion and there's nothing wrong with having different opinions. But for some reason, we're in a place where we start viewing it as wrong. And then, you know what? I had my different opinion. Like, let's say I did have a different opinion. You know, I grew up like Pedro. I grew up in the church. Now I don't have an opinion. I'm okay. I'm more than okay. But, you know, there's certain things and certain values we were taught in the church that older people and the people from the South that weren't okay with, right? Now, and if they kept it to themselves and not, you know, interact and treated people well, that was the most important thing. Then, you know, as long as people get equal rights and treated well and are respected, I think that's just as important. So I don't know, you know.
I think it speaks to something that I think he was trying to articulate in the stand-up, and I think part of it is, well, for me, like, I understand why some of the things he said, although they were jokes, so I'm taking it with a grain of salt as jokes, or like, you know, I'm going to say the thing that you shouldn't say because I'm a comedian, and this is something sometimes people are going to be thinking or feeling that uncertainty when they're put in a situation that they are unfamiliar with or uncomfortable with, or, you know, And so in that way, like, you say that, and sometimes as a punchline or as a concept, and yeah, like it could be a little cringy, or it can be depending on who you are. But if you go into it with the understanding that like this is comedy, it's meant to poke fun. Like, I know for us, like, we make fun of like ignorant nigga shit all the time, all right? And granted, like, we're dead people, we and Drake, and we have a connection to the community that would be deemed termed, or, you know, saying experience a nigga experience and ignorant nigga shit, right? And, you know, it's funny when Dave Chappelle is calling out ignorant nigga shit, right? Everyone's laughing at it. It's good. And that's one of the things he said. I walked away from $50 million because, you know what I'm saying, it was turning into a form of, you know what I'm saying, cooning out in a way that wasn't about the joke of equally articulating his perspective or calling out the equality of being able to be joked on. And it's okay as long as I'm only staying in this lane, you know what I'm saying? Like, why can't, like, if we are ever to truly be equals and be on an equal plane, not punching up and punching down, like, I need to be able to, like, joke about you and you. He can talk about the whites. He can talk about ignorant nigga shit, right? But is that where his comedy is to stay? Is that how he is going to expand the either art form or the dialogue between these marginalized groups? And I think he talked about that with the Clifford, the big nigga Clifford joke. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, but it's always just a broken heart because we're just big Negroes and it's okay. Like, playing on those tropes, that idea that, like, we can take the brunt of this. Black people can always take the brunt of the worst society has to give, but we can't joke about you. You know what I'm saying? And talk about the baby, like, Black people can get the worst trauma or the worst experience that to be associated with, but don't joke about these other marginalized groups. And it's like, that's not how we create intersectionality. That's not how we actually create, you know what I'm saying, a connectedness that sees people as equals and as on the same playing field if we can't joke about certain things. Now, I understand in moments in time, certain groups and certain people are going to be more sensitive because of, you know, what has occurred to them historically, societally. But to get there and to get to what people would hopefully one day idealize as a post-racial society, is not going to happen, but a society where people are equal across these different lines of identity. Like, we got to be able to, like, talk shit about each other. I think as in his way, he's like, if I could talk shit about you, I see you as an equal, or I see you as somebody that's not better than me or below me. You're a person that I could talk shit about. You represent something that I could talk shit about because it is, like he said, a human experience in existence. That is what we're all doing on this planet, right? We're all living an experience and with different ways of, you know, having opinions or seeing things, but also different experiences, but all still one and the same. So, like, for me to speak on you is for me to put you as an equal to me, not as somebody below me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think his rhetoric or his jokes were blatantly, you know, derogatory, but I understand, and I do want to say, like, I can understand where somebody who is trans or has or is an ally to trans people or LGBTQ people could feel offense to some of the jokes he says. And that's valid and fair. You can feel that offense. No one's saying that you shouldn't feel offended if you feel offended. But also, what do you do when you feel offended? Do you take the offense and, you know, shout the loudest? Do you take the offense, process it, and move forward? Do you start a dialogue? Do you learn and just, you know, find your way? Like Aaron said, like, if you don't like Dave Chappelle because he tells us
turn it off.
Turn it off. Like,
turn it off. That's what I do when I feel offended. I turn something off.
There's different ways that you get offended
by Drake's music. I turn it off.
Yeah, but when you force that offense onto other groups, then we start to get into another power dynamic. So I don't know. I was not offended because of the jokes, because I'm not, you know, of that marginalized communities, but also I wasn't offended because I also understood they were jokes. And so for anybody who does feel offended, I would just say, you know, if you want to try and watch the whole thing, if you feel offended by some of the concepts he's talking about, ask yourself why and where do we go with that feeling of offense? Because in the end, I feel as though it's jokes. And like one of the ways, at least in, you know, my community as a person, as an individual living this experience, but also as a person of color, like, I talk shit about you a little bit. You know, that's like one of, I think, the ways that we show love and endearment and also connection to people. Like Aaron and Pedro, they're like basically brothers. They talk shit about each other, make jokes about each other all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like
I'm definitely offended by a lot of things he says. I just hold it in because I was learned to mask in all my emotions from the 80s.
Yeah, and I definitely keep stuff in too, especially like usually when I leave his wife's house when he at work.
The Portland Trailblazers rejected a trade offer from the 76ers for 3 first-round picks and 3 pick swaps to get Ben Simmons and bring him into Portland. I guess the question is, were the Portland Trailblazers tripping or just doing smart basketball?
I'm caught in between, Jared. I'm caught in between. I get your point. this is where I'm kind of between. Deep inside myself, I think they should have took it, right? Like we all know the draft has been shitty. You just get lucky, right? You get lucky, and you probably get luckier without a lottery pick than you will with a lottery pick, a later round pick the chances are higher. And this would be like their Draymond Green kind of missing piece that can kind of help them. They get an all-star caliber player that finally a perimeter defender, something they don't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a guy that can pass the ball and push the fast break. Because if Damian Lillard, yes, he could push the fast break. Yes, he can. But I mean, let's be real. He's great at scoring for himself. He's great at playing for himself. So you get more of an unselfish player. So part of me believes, yes, Portland Trailblazers are stupid. They should have did that. They should have just easily took Ben Simmons off their hands for 3 picks. And don't you dare play that music. They should have easily done it for those 3 picks. But part of me understands, like, for some reason, the jackasses that are general managing all these teams now, and the owners are convinced that draft picks are worth a lot. That's why you're seeing these huge picks and people getting traded for first round. And I'm like, that's why there's more trades now than there ever was before. Because for some reason, people are counting draft picks as all this collateral, even though it means nothing because half the picks don't pay. They're not good, right? But for some reason, owners think and general managers think that they are worth just a lot more.
Draft picks cost the Boston Celtics maybe either a chance at a championship or winning a championship.
You're talking about recently, right?
And recently, I'm talking about recently.
I agree.
Because they got the generational, you got talent that,
and they had all those picks. They already had Tatum. They had 5
what are you
picks,
doing with those
and
picks?
they had Tatum and Brown on the roster, and they had 5 picks. And as you see, it's just shitty. There's a bunch of shitty players, right?
Right. But you got the known people that Ben Simmons. Okay, he can't shoot, but guess what he can do? Defend the hell out of everything.
And he can pass.
he can pass.
And he
makes
pass.
plays.
He makes plays.
You know that what you have right there, your commodity, what you have. Okay, they want these picks, they can have them because nobody knows what's coming in the future. Them kids, shit, the asteroid could be coming and knock us all out. Just make the move, man. It's like
that's what
and then you watch Boston. You watch Boston, right? Like I said before, I had all that talent. They was one piece away. There was one big man away. And they sat up there, and that's why Danny Ainge ain't running the team no more, because he was holding picks like he was playing Uno or some shit. You got to get the now. You know what you get now. You know the talent's there, and if somebody wants those picks, you give it to them. 100% agree with him.
I was looking at it, and Aaron, you originally said they were smart not to take the pick.
I originally said that, yeah.
And then I had to send you a log of their draft picks that the Portland Trailblazers have had. And this comes down to, and this is where I feel like I won because I got Aaron to somewhat change his mind on this. You did. Because when we look at it, and Aaron's spoken on how Portland is kind of in a purgatory of draft picks where they're always too good to get a top draft pick, but they're in the middle. Yeah, in the middle. And then, but they don't draft well enough, or just there's not enough. The chances of getting somebody that's really good is going to come with some kind of, asterisk, or they're just going to be garbage in those that late teens, early 20s draft pick. And they keep making the playoffs, so it's not helping them. But after Damian Lillard was drafted in 2012, these are the picks that they, and let's look at Damian Lillard's draft year, 2012. They drafted Damian Lillard with the number 6 pick in 2012. They then got Myers Leonard, that racist, non-racist speaking motherfucker, who I don't understand why people watching him on Twitch.
Will Barton, who's overrated, but all you guys love.
Oh, Will Barton, but they had Will Barton in the second round and Tayshaun Taylor.
That's a good draft.
It was a solid draft.
No idea who that is.
It was a productive
Will
draft.
Barton plays for
Denver Nuggets.
Denver.
Will Barton's a good basketball
Denver,
player.
that's right.
He's a solid piece. He's a solid piece.
He's a solid piece. Yeah, I know who he is now. I have no idea who he is.
Oh, you got Will Barton, who's a quality NBA player. He's a glue player.
He's a glue player, and he's good enough.
He's a plus.
Like there's some games where
player.
he's gonna have like 27, 30.
Right.
But he's a plus glue player. He's a very plus player.
Yeah. All right. So then after that, you have 2013. They get CJ McCollum in the first round, undersized,
sneaky pick. That was a sneaky pick.
A good pick. That's their last quality pick in my opinion. They've had.
When did he pick? That was number 10.
Yeah, 2013. They got Jeff Withey, Grant Jarrett, and Marko Fedosevic. Okay, we're not gonna talk about those dudes because they don't play in the league anymore. I don't think. Maybe Jeff Withey is on like OKC, backing up the other big white dudes that are playing center unnecessarily on that team. But anyways, then in 2014, they didn't have picks. 2015, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, mediocre player at best. 2017, Justin Jackson out of UNC with their first round pick, number 15 pick.
Him. He never played there.
Yeah, Harry Giles at the 20th pick, and then Caleb Swanigan at the 26th pick in the first round. So they had 3 first round picks in 2017. None of those guys have panned out. 2 of them are not even on the team anymore. And then you got 2018, Anthony Simmons with the 24th pick. They're getting these.
Maybe they thought it was Anthony Hardaway.
Maybe they did. They're getting all these guys in the late teens, the early 20s, or middle 20s. Then in 2019, they got Nasir Little out of UNC. I don't know who the fuck. I don't know who the fuck that is.
Maybe they thought he was really nice, and they thought he gonna fill the stands. We gonna have him rap at halftime.
No, they read his name backwards. Like, hey, nah, Lil Nas X. That's the dude that got Old Town Road. And then in 2020 they got Isaiah Stewart. They traded away, and he showed us some production at the end of the season. And then CJ Ellaby, Washington State. So.
In trade Isaiah Stewart, I know that.
Yeah,
much.
From 2013, so basically 2014, they didn't have any picks. On to now, 2021 or 2020 draft, they've effectively, drafted no players that are contributing to what they do. And so, as much as you have these first round picks, they had 3 first round picks in 2017. 2 of the motherfuckers ain't on the team. I think they traded them for somebody to get somebody, but whatever. And then Caleb Swanigan, like it's. None of these players, none of these first round picks that you'd be giving up are probably going to become anything anyways. Your last 7 first round picks are all not playing on your team anymore or are garbage, right? Other than CJ McCollum, who's the last first round pick they've had in 2013, that is a productive player, an impact player, and
that was still a lottery pick too.
Mm-hmm. So I just feel as though like Portland, what do you have to lose?
I agree.
Lillard's not getting younger. CJ McCollum has already had injury issues in the past. He's not getting younger.
He had less injuries than Damian Lillard.
Yeah. Well, Lillard's played pretty much. He's been pretty sturdy. But like you can either trade this and get a player who's gonna make up for the size deficiency on your perimeter and be able to start guarding that 2 guard and be that guy who's like, all right, you're gonna take the 2 guard. They're scoring guard. They're scoring wing. You're taking them. You know what I'm saying? We can't guard them with the 2 undersized guards we have. Yeah. And we can't keep having these guys that are like defensive specialists, but also not very good on offense that, can't, maybe help facilitate more on offense for us. Ben Simmons, you can step in and be that guy who can't shoot, but you could be a really good defensive player on the perimeter. And you could at least help create openings for CJ McCollum, Lillard, help them hopefully maybe age a little bit more gracefully and be able to take some of the pressure off them having to go one-on-one all the motherfucking time. Right. So, I think Portland's playing scared and they're going to lose Lillard soon anyways. And they're going to be rebuilding from square one because either Lillard's going to be like, y'all going to either rebuild and get some real players in here, or we're just going to scrap the whole thing. Let me go play with the Lakers for a title. Well, let's get to Cutty Corner shoutouts. Cutty Corner shoutouts is a segment we end the show on where everyone gets the floor to rant, complain, or shed positive light on something they just want to give a shout out to and illuminate for the rest of y'all. So Cutty Corner shoutouts. Cutty Corner shoutouts.
It's time. We're burning now.
God, if you let it in, hell.
So cold and bleeding now.
I'm in with it, man.
Gonna let you down.
He had sex with my mama.
We're broken people now.
I just said I need a
Aaron, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
But, I got so many things to complain about right now. I'm trying to find one. Usually I write stuff in my phone, but I think I gave the last 2 weeks, I gave you 2 Cutty Corner shout outs. I can't even like save anything. But this one, I get this one coming from the top of the head. Then my Cutty Corner shout out goes out to Gabrielle Union, and not just her, but all the celebrities that think their lives is that important that they got to write a biography and some shit like that, right? And you got to and just try to make it as entertaining as possible and talk about how when you got divorced, you went through all these fuck boys and this and that, and how this, it's just basically a gossip column book. I like reading. I like reading fiction. I'll be honest. I'm not a big nonfiction person. I'm a fiction. I get into a little bit of nonfiction, but for me, reading is something that I enjoy taking away. And the problem is when celebrities write these books, you always see people walking around with them like, oh, yeah, I just read this book. Oh, I'm reading this now. And it's almost like being on Twitter or TikTok where it's just like showing off what you're reading. And it's not sustainable, right? Find a genre, people out there. Find a book that you like. Find a series. Find a writer that you like and stick to it. Stop buying all these celebrity books where she's just putting all this, did I use this term right, Jarrett? Salacious things in there. Talking about all the fuck boys she went through and how she felt when she found out Dwayne Wade impregnated another woman and she couldn't get pregnant and things like this. And then she's making a circuit, so it keeps popping up on my Yahoo feed. I'm like, God damn it, man. I just want to, I'm going to Yahoo so I can just see what the fuck is. That's just my homepage, man. Right? I ain't got nothing to do with anything. And it's just Gabrielle Union this. And no offense to Gabrielle Union. I mean, I hope she put in it how she started dating Dwayne Wade while he was still married to his wife and not separated from her. I hope she put shit in there like that. No, that shit ain't in there. So to the celebrities that keep writing books, man, and that put that shit out, man, you're just wasting paper. We're killing trees for just bullshit. Just go on a talk show and talk your shit and make your jokes and do whatever you got to do. Leave the books for the good writers. There's a lot of quality writers out there that don't get attention. Publishers don't put all the money in there to promote their books and everything they do. And so, yeah, so that's my Cutty Corner. Gabrielle and her books and all that.
Indirect shout out to Aaron. Tell us your age without telling us your age. Yahoo is my home screen.
My home screen, man. You keep Yahoo as a home screen.
Pedro, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
Yes, I do. Also, Gabrielle Union is always going to be on my Cutty Corner shout out. It's a rant because she invented irregular sex for these women. Trying to take control of the man in the bedroom. So she's always going to be on my Cutty Corner. My Cutty Corner shout out goes to people that need likes. Bring us back to the Chappelle special. Bring us back to just the internet in general. There's a lot of racist things going on that people are recording. Cameras out. It's camera season, I guess. I don't know. I guess it's always been camera season, really. We're videotaping Karens. We're videotaping racist acts. We're videotaping, or the police are actually videotaping their self acting a fool, pulling paraplegic people out of cars. So my Cutty Corner shout out goes to just getting likes. I don't know if this is an attention grab. People wanting to be liked by, how do I say this? Like they just want, we know like all the racist things happen. And it seems like it's getting stale. We're just recording instead of, and putting it on the internet instead of doing something or writing your Congress people, writing the mayor, writing the sheriff's office or whatever it needs to do to stop all these heinous acts. And we just put them out there so people can watch and they'll have somebody else fight for you. What you need to be doing is getting the community together and doing something to get these people fired or get these people put out the community that are being heinous to the community. Instead of putting it on the internet for likes, because I think we're putting this stuff on here. I mean, look at what this guy's doing. Look at this racist thing this guy's doing. Look at all this racism, and we're not putting no action to it. Marching doesn't do anything. We need to go to officials. Stop putting this stuff on TikTok. record it, have the evidence, but stop putting the stuff on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever y'all using now, because it's starting to get silly to the point. Yeah, I know. We know. Yeah, there is racism. White people don't like you. We get it. It's time to do something about it. It's time to do something about it. I don't want to see the video of it. It's just too much. There's too much. There's too many videos. And I'm like, okay, we get your real black leader like DJartt or somebody. Y'all get together in the community, have somebody call, just write letters into the police department. I don't need to see you making videos of it going viral. I was getting a lot of that this week for some reason. And I'm like, golly, yeah, we know white people, police don't like us. We understand that it's time to do something about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people acting like that shit new.
Yeah,
like, it's new. Oh man, black people in the 60s didn't have to go through this.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, we've been saying this for it's time to we might have a fight back.
We might have a little easier. They had dogs and shit like that, and they got arrested after for no reason.
Exactly. You get your ass beat in, then go to jail. And everybody outside singing Kumbaya.
Mm-hmm.
Outside the jailhouse. Now they videotaping it, putting it up for lights.
My Cutty Corner shout out goes out to Derek Carr. Just kidding. Shout out to Derek Carr, the greatest quarterback, statistically speaking, in Raiders history. You are so good. You are too good. You know what happened this past week? Joey Bosa pissed you off, and you told him good job for that, and brushed him off. And then you came out and said you're not going to renegotiate your contract, motherfucker. You better start negotiating now. Try and get some money because your ass is weak. You ain't a leader of men. Okay. You are not a leader of men. That's all. I'm not even going any further than that. You are not a real leader of men. You are a puff daddy of men. You are faking it. You're faking it. You're faking your lyrics. You're sampling everybody else's swag, and then you're over here walking around with your chest puffed out like you're actually doing something. You literally act like you're doing stuff. You are annoyingly mediocre at best. So Derek Carr, sit your ass down. Be humble. Pray to white Jesus and be humble. Pray that he gives you the strength to not be a poo butt ass motherfucker in that huddle or on that field every Sunday. Because as of now, you got real lucky that you caught people off guard. You ain't looking so good, player. I got you on my fantasy team. I'm gonna hold on to you though. I'm gonna hold on to you. See if you can right this ship.
Why you hold on to him, man? Because it looked like he all bad. He down the drain, Jared.
I'm holding on to him because I just think he might be able to provide me with some depth and quality play as a backup quarterback. Is what you should be, motherfucker. My second Cutty Corner shout out goes out to Deontay Wilder. You went out on your shield last night, brother. You put up a hell of a fight. You came in 20 plus pounds heavier than you normally fight at, and that
all muscle.
I think that served to be the thing that was part of your downfall. You came in, you bared the weight against him. You tried to be bigger so you can manage that, but it also fatigued you to the point where you were gassed. Like you didn't have it. It wasn't that you was getting knocked out as much as you was fatigued, exhausted, and getting knocked out. But you took down Fury 2 times. You hit him twice, put him down twice. Showed a much better game plan. You were much more active and not, just being beaten on throughout the fight. So I got to give you a shout out for at least showing a little bit more acumen and growth as a boxer. And it gives me hope that, you can continue to develop and evolve your game. Maybe not as much as we all might like, but enough to the point where you can continue to be relevant in the heavyweight division. And maybe one day get back around, win a few fights, come back and take Fury on one more time if the cards play out right. But shout out goes to that fight. It was a pretty entertaining fight last night. Tyson Fury, hats off to him for, being a boxer. And, you heard his cornerman being like, hey, this is the plan, set the trap. This is the plan, set the trap.
Man,
they knew as the fight went on, Wilder was going to fatigue. You got to know when you put on that much weight and that much muscle, your cardio has to be at a completely different level. You can't run around cut up at 240 after bulking up like that and expect to go 12 rounds without getting gassed potentially. And I think that was the, he went out on his shield. He went out with his best shots. He tried to finish him, couldn't finish him. And, You know what I'm saying? At that point, it was like, well, it's just a war of attrition now, and Fury was the better man. So shout out to that boxing match. Good fight. I don't think this story is done, and I hope to see more from Wilder and Fury. We'll see who Fury fights next, though, because really, who is there to fight? Usyk, baby, Usyk.
Man, I can't believe you're gonna say that was a better boxing. He threw one uppercut, so that made it a better boxing.
It wasn't the uppercut; it was the active jab he was putting out there to the body.
But he was leaving his face wide open. Every time he put that jab out,
and
he
was
still
where
don't know how to box.
He's not a great boxer, and he's fighting somebody who actually has the advantage on him lengthwise. He's never. And
He's
so
science, baby.
That's why I said I wanted to get inside more and exchange more inside. He didn't do that as much, but he did throw when he was getting inside. He wasn't. Just
I think he knows how to throw punches inside. I don't think he knows how to.
That's you gotta adapt your game to fight all best comers.
So the streamer that I was using, it was great, but it was the British network, right? So here's the crazy thing: it didn't show it only very rarely showed.
Allegedly, you was
the one I was allegedly using. It rarely showed a replay, but it showed the cornerman talking the whole time, right? And the craziest thing is, one of the rounds, during the beating, when towards the later rounds, this cornerman's like, "You got this. Just do this, do that, blah blah blah." And he's like, "You got this, man. What round is it?" He turned to the other counter guy and said, "What round is it?" They're like, "I don't know." That tell you what kind of stickman. And also Tyson Fury cornerman, Sugar, whatever his name is. Stop putting if you gotta put your nickname on your hat, then you got a shitty nickname. You might as well just put on a name tag that says, "Hello, my name is," and put your nickname on it. That's how shitty your nickname is. I gotta walk around with a hat that says Sugar. Guess what? Sugar Ray Robinson never had to put anything. Is Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Get it changed legally. He changed it legally because he wanted to make sure you called him Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He changed it legally to Marvelous Marvin Hagler. You got a nickname. Magic ain't never had to put the shit on anything. He didn't have to write Magic on the back of his jersey. Nah, man, he ain't have to say Magic. If you got a nickname and people ain't calling you that nickname, if you got to put on a hat or a shirt or something, then it's all bad, man. Just go by your first name, dog.
Well, that is our show, my friends. That is our show. Any final words y'all got you like to say out to our fans out there?
Shout out. This is a happy time of year for sports. You got baseball. You know what? Nothing beat. Sometimes postseasons disappoint in other sports. Baseball postseason never disappoints. So I'll give it that. It never disappoints. Every pitch, every sport, every matchup matters. Then you got football. We enter in the second quarter of the football season. Things are revving up. You got basketball season about to start up. This is the happiest time in basketball because everybody supposedly got a chance. I lie to themselves. So this is a good sports year, man. It's a good sports time. Alabama lost last night.
Yeah, it's getting good. This is the fall. The autumn wind is here, unless you Derek Carr.
Shit's hot outside.
Hey, weak motherfucker. Anyways, Pedro, any final words?
Just waiting for the basketball season. Baseball, get this baseball playoff starts. My favorite year of the month when it comes to sports. Not everything.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to our show. Shout out to all the people out there. Shout out to our Irish brethren. Shout out to our people on the East Coast, Maryland, Virginia, Florida, Minnesota, Oregon, Seattle, Cali, Arizona folks. And keep tapping in with us and keep sending us out. And we will leave you with this. All right, well, I got a quick game I want to play with you, and then we're gonna get into some other stuff. But so what's real? You said that Hot Ones, the show with hot sauce and hot ones, is something that you're interested in. And I thought
I've watched almost every episode.
Okay, wow. Best episode in your opinion on that show? Best guest on that show?
Man. That's really hard to pick one, but I'm gonna say Gordon Ramsay. It was just funny to watch him. It was just like it was interesting. Gordon Ramsay was very much Gordon Ramsay. He was being a giant baby too, which is hilarious to see Gordon Ramsay just like kind of under pressure from the wings. Yeah, but there's so many good ones. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Shaq, Trevor Noah, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
There was what was the guy from Jackass? He like took the last dab and put in his eyelids.
Oh,
and, like
Steve-O.
Yeah, Steve-O drank the entire last bottle.
Yeah, he's a glutton for pain.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
he's part of the reason behind Ryan Beats in life have to do the work they do.
Exactly. He needs some therapy. He definitely needs some therapy.
He needs some milk. That's what he needs. No, he needs some milk. All right. Well, we have our own Hot Ones game that doesn't have to do with eating, but it has to do with a game we played called Hot Sauce or Metal Bands. So what's real? Here's what I'm gonna do. These are some of the same ones that Aaron and Pedro got in the game. Aaron is our current champion, by the way. Aaron, shout out sponsorship as being our Hot Sauce or Metal Band champion.
To beat Pedro, I'm very competitive.
To beat Pedro, you got to get at least 3 in a row. To beat Aaron, you got to get at least 5 in a row. Okay. And you get one lifeline where you can ask either Aaron or Pedro what it is. And depending on who you ask, they might have gotten this one. And so they might know or not remember the answer. You never know. Pedro's
I would not remember the answer.
I don't know if I'm gonna remember either.
Aaron was good at the game. So you probably want to go with Aaron as a lifeline. But so I got a list here of Hot Sauce or Metal Bands. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a name. You have to tell me, is that a hot sauce or a metal band? All right.
Okay. That's good.
All right. Well, number 1 was Bubba's Butt Blaster.
I don't remember. I feel like that's got to be a hot sauce.
Yeah.
That is correct. It is a hot sauce. There you go.
Metal band's gonna be like, we are Bubba's Butt Blaster. Yeah, I'm gonna rock your ass. Like, what the hell? No.
All right. So what's real? You got 1 down so far. Okay, good. The next one, Atomic Venomizer.
Feels like it could be either. It's definitely not one that's been on Hot Ones.
What was it? Atomic what?
Venomizer.
Metal band?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Oh.
That is correct. It is a metal band. It's a thrash metal band from Japan, apparently. All right, here we go.
Man.
Next one. Camel Toe. Hot sauce or metal band?
Now, honestly, this should not be either of them, but we're going to get to that afterwards. Oh, God, let me think. That's a hard one. It's pretty much as bad either way. I think it sounds maybe a little bit less ridiculous just by a hair if it was a metal band, so I'm going to guess metal band.
That is incorrect. It is a hot sauce. That was our Chipotle mango hot
Camel
sauce.
toe hot sauce. Jesus Christ.
I feel like I got that one wrong.